dating a single mother. It's like continuing someone else's save game.
Yeah, that's probably a terrible way to start the show, so let's get into it.
So, there's three guys just hanging out together and they're a little bit bored. One of them has this idea that it would be a good idea to see if they could get into the Guinness Book of World Records. And the first guy says, hey, you know what? I've got pretty long arms. Maybe I've got the longest arms in the world. And the second guy says, you know what? I've got a pretty big chest. Maybe I've got the biggest chest in the world. And the third guy says, I've got a small dick. Maybe I've got the smallest dick in the world. So they all submit their applications to the Guinness Book of World Records, and a week later the book is published, and they all gather around to see the results. Are they in the Guinness Book of World Records? And the first guy opens up his copy of the book and says, hey, look! What a surprise. I do have the longest arms in the world. How good is that? And the second guy looks in his book and says, oh, this is sick. I do have the biggest chest in the world. I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records. And the third guy looks in it and says, oh, what? Who the fuck is Snoogs?
3, 2, 1, 0.
We recommend wearing headphones. This
is the Aussie Gamers
Experience.
News, reviews, and outlandish fun.
Experience
it all.
What's up, everyone, and thanks for joining us for episode 249 of the Aussie Games Experience podcast. Today is Monday, the 11th of March, 2019. I'm your host, and joining me for hosting duties tonight is Mr. Grejio. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yourself?
You good? I'm kicking along. I'm all right for a Monday, I guess.
See, I laugh because I know that's not entirely true.
That might not be entirely true, but it's been one of those things. Good week so far. Well, it's been a week since we last recorded. So
well, let's put it this way. Your week was probably good. Your last couple of hours probably weren't. That's probably because I did ask you about your week. So,
yeah.
So, my week was good. Did you get up to anything on the weekend that was interesting?
Not overly interesting. I had a fun moment of I went and helped continue cleaning out my mother and father's house. So sort of getting through all that, and it was really good for the workout. Plus, I got to have a bit of a play with my trike, and that's not a euphemism. That's actually a motorbike with 3 wheels. Other than that, not a great deal. That was on Saturday, and it kind of wiped me out for Sunday, so I was not in a good spot. But
fair enough.
How about yourself?
It was a pretty standard weekend. I didn't do a great deal, but Saturday night I went out to Sydney Motorsport Park to go watch some drifting.
Ooh.
Anyway, I rocked up at the gate. I showed them my membership pass so I could get in for free, and I drove down a bit further where they then direct competitors off to the pits and spectators off to the parking, and people that were there for the show and shine off to where they're supposed to be. And I was just going to show my pass again because sometimes that allows me to go park in the pits so I don't have to walk down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, before I even had a chance to show it, guy that was directing traffic sticks his head in my car and he says, I like your car. And I went, thank you. Says, sounds tough and looks a bit different. You can park over there. And points at the show and shine.
Nice.
Now, I hadn't washed my car. My car is in no way a show car whatsoever. It's got scratches and
it's a daily.
It's a day. I drive it every day, so it's got little bits and pieces taken out of it from driving it on the road, and then when I race it, there's little bits of scuffs and whatnot from racing it. So it's not exactly a show car, but he liked it enough where he went, no, you can go park with the show cars. Go over there. And I obliged him, even though I was like, this doesn't feel like this will end well. but it's concrete parking, so I don't have to park on the dirt. So that's a little less dirt on my car. So, so yeah, I went and parked there, and I was chuffed. I was probably the only V8 in the group. So, due to the demographic that goes to the drifting,
yeah, it's very much a Japanese sport. That's where it sort of originated. That's where a lot of the big competitors are from. So.
Yeah, so there was lots of Japanese cars there, few European cars, but I was definitely the only Australian / American
token
car
bogan. I
was the token bogan in the group. Token bogan. I wasn't the token bogan of the night because there was a couple of them drifting and having a ball on the wet pan, but in the show and shine, I was definitely the only thing with 8 cylinders, and definitely the only thing in the domestic market.
Nice.
So.
Very cool. All right, well, in the show this week, first and foremost, a g'day to Radicus, who has joined us in the live chat. Coming up in the show, though, Snoogs has been given the right royal finger. The original, and still the best, Slaying Demons in Style, PS4 goes mobile, what the hell is that for an install size, and much more. So should we jump straight in, mate?
Definitely.
This week in gaming, we are going to go all the way back to 1999 with something a little bit different. And this one's based on a release date from the US. I saw it pop up and I had to bring this up because it's something that I quite enjoy. So this week in 99, EA/Origin brings Wing Commander to the big screen.
Oh, yes. Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, and Saffron Burrows. Now, you obviously have seen it. I'm pretty sure we've actually watched it together.
There's a good chance, yes.
Yeah. I've seen it. I've seen it many times. I actually own it on DVD. And it's kind of one of those guilty pleasures, I suppose. In the grand scheme of things, right? In the grand scheme of things, this was a flop. This was a massive flop for a movie. Something like a $30 million budget, but at the box office it only brought back 11. So
yeah, look, none of the Freddie Prinze kids save it. And Freddie Prinze was Freddie Prinze back then. He was Prince. He was
Freddie Prinze and Matthew Lillard back at the end of the 90s could do no wrong.
Yeah.
And, even Saffron went on to do a couple of things.
But...
Yeah. Yeah. So, pretty much, for those who haven't seen it, Blair, which is Freddie Prinze, he's a fighter pilot, joins an interstellar war to fight off the evil Kilrathi who are trying to destroy the universe. It's got late 90s CGI. It's bad, and
hasn't aged well, has it?
No, it hasn't aged well, but it's one of those ones. Radicus brings up a good thing in the chat. Mortal Kombat is his guilty pleasure, the movie. Mortal Kombat, the movie, is a pretty terrible movie in the grand scheme of things, but it's still one of those ones you watch, No, it's not almost as bad as the Street Fighter movie. It doesn't have that Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the big muscle towards the screen, but it's a little guilty pleasure. I enjoy it, and now that I've seen it, I want to watch it again. I've been scouring my room trying to figure out where it is. I've got it somewhere hidden away in the office here somewhere, so I'll have to dig it out.
Totally.
Exactly. All right, well, let's start the show. Alrighty, mate. On to some game talk. Games we've been playing this week, just gone. Very short list from both of us. You yourself, kick it off, mate, with Forza. So some more Horizon 4. Yep.
I played Forza. I did the Forza-thon thing.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I just made some more pretty cars, put some more cars up on Instagram. That was pretty much my week of games. I didn't play any more Anthem. To be honest, I just didn't have any compulsion to play any more Anthem. And that was kind of. I didn't play any more Carmageddon. I haven't and I'll go back to playing Carmageddon at some point. I just didn't get a chance this week. I was kind of just all about Forza, catching up with Forza, because I'd sort of, while I'd still been playing it on my sort of weekly basis, I'd sort of hadn't done any more than just the mandatory stuff and
The general.
So I thought I'd just spend some time in it and
All right. Well,
get some enjoyment back.
One thing I want you to let us know about, because something you popped up on Instagram. It was either during the week or I'm sort of everything's blurring into one at the moment. It was either this week or last. One of your old original favourites returned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Drift 365.
Yeah, the 370Z.
Yep.
It was my first Drift 365 livery. For those that don't know, back in Forza Horizon 2, actually, I was sort of wanting to find some direction with my liveries that just help. I was kind of a little bit lost.
Something to have a base on, yeah.
Yeah, something to have a base on to work with. So I created up this fictitious drift team called Drift 365, and I just created a livery on a car, and I've since made a plethora of different Drift 365 liveries for different cars in different styles and whatnot. But the logo remains the same. And anyway, it came up on one of the people that follows me and likes my stuff and downloads just about everything I do because he's a cool dude and he has taste. I noticed that he put some photos up of the old livery because I'd put it up on Horizon 4, and I just noticed there was a few things that didn't fit anymore just because as the game's changed slightly, obviously the borders and stuff like that on the cars change and whatnot, and how the livery fits. So actually, I sort of thanked him for, giving it a little bit of love, but I said, give me a little bit. I'm going to fix up how it looks and re-download it and put it on your car because I'm not happy with how it sits now. So I did. I tightened it up. There's like a few little spots that now the livery would sit on that it wouldn't sit on before. So I had to mesh those in, and I added a couple more little sponsorship stickers here, there, and everywhere. I just freshened it up, especially with the new wheel paint. The way you can paint the wheels, different things. I thought I'd give that a bit of a tweak as well, so it just wasn't one color. So yeah, I did that, and then I thought, you know what, I'll give it up. I'll put it up on Instagram, give it some love, and just a bit of nostalgia kind of thing. So.
Awesome. So if someone's searching for it, can they just search Drift 365, or they got to look for you?
No, I put in all my Drift 365 liveries, I put it in the description, Drift 365 or D365, like one word. You can search it that way, or you can just search my gamer tag, which is Grejio, and then all my stuff comes up for that car, not just Drift 365. So awesome. If I have a livery that isn't Drift 365, it'll pop up. But yeah, other than that, there's actually a big update for Forza Horizon 4 coming in the next little while. I saw some news on it the other day. I haven't fully digested it to be able to regurgitate it back to you guys and let you know what it all is. But apparently it's a pretty big change. They're going to change up how the whole Forzathon menu works, and they're going to add some new content to the weekly sort of routine of Forzathon. Add in some ways of changing up the showcase events so they're a bit more replayable. Just stuff like that. Just some new ways of getting prizes like loot cars and stuff like that. So
awesome. Well, speaking of things from the past, this last week we've had the release on PS Plus of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the remastered version. And Lucas and I were free on Saturday night, and I saw Lucas in the afternoon on Saturday, and he said, "Hey, how about we have a few rounds of this tonight?" So yeah, cool. Sounds good. We both had it downloaded. Let's get into it. Yeah, 4.5, 5 hours later, we turned it off because it was like oh shit, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I got stuff to do tomorrow, so that better be it. Mate, I tell you what, I cannot comment enough on just how good it is. Radicus in the chat, is there many playing it? Mate, it's constant. You finish one game, another one starts up. And even if the party's not full, the next one still starts up and people drop in. And that only happened once, though. Generally, it was full lobbies, everyone getting stuck into it. I didn't go too badly. I had a few absolutely woeful rounds. One brilliant round. Lucas had a couple of really good ones as well, where he topped the boards. But just in general, mate, I fell straight back into it. I felt like I was when it first released, where I was playing it, hard and giving it a good crack. It's just brilliant. That muscle memory just comes straight back. Knew exactly what to do. A few maps I was a bit iffy with, but second or third time playing them, I remembered the map. I knew where to go. I knew where the lines were. It just all started to come flowing back. It was really, really good. I cannot talk it up enough.
So, I'm just trying to remember now because they're kind of blurring together. But
yep.
Did Modern Warfare have the challenges as well? So you had the camp. That was Modern Warfare 2, wasn't it?
I think so. This is the one it's got the campaign where you shoot that bloke's arm off.
Yeah. I remember the campaign. I thought it was the one that first had the campaign, the multiplayer, and then it had the challenges as well, that you could go and play either single player.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
G'day everyone, Editing Lucas here, just jumping in to clarify. I believe what Grejio is talking about is the Spec Op missions that you could play in co-op and single player. That was first brought out in Modern Warfare 2 and it was also in Modern Warfare 3, but was not in the original Modern Warfare. Not the one we were playing anyway. That's all, back to the show.
Okay.
All I remember seeing is the multiplayer and the challenges. And the loot boxes. Loot boxes are plenty.
Yeah.
But you can very, very slowly earn enough coin in-game to buy loot boxes.
Slowly? Really? Oh my goodness. Shock me.
Like, exceptionally slowly.
No way.
Like, you need 30... to buy just like a basic loot crate, you need 10 points. And my game, or my best game was 22 kills, 5 deaths. And we won that round. And I think I got 2. Maybe 3. But you always get around the 2 sort of marks. It's sort of kind of like a progressive thing. So if you get 2.5, then the next time you'll only need, half to get your first one, and then so on and so forth. But it's still there. Like they're not going to just hand them out. So.
Oh no, you're just spinning me out that it's slow. I wouldn't have believed it unless,
Yeah, I'm sensing the sarcasm is that thick on that one that I can hear it dripping in the background.
Yeah, fair enough.
Radicus, you do have to do it. Get it. Come and play with us. You too, mate. You need to jump on.
Yeah, totally. No, totally. I will.
It's good fun.
I think after we're done here, I'll turn on the PlayStation, make sure it's downloaded.
Yeah, get onto it. The other big game I've got to talk about is one that I've streamed this past weekend, and I will be until a copy of the next game that I'm waiting on decides to turn up. Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, really?
Now, you've voiced...
I'm not interested.
You voiced your opinion in the past. Yeah. We'll go back. We'll circle around to that, because some of your opinion on how it was perceived from the trailers and the early sort of look at it. that whole... There was something I think you said about it being very cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, stupidly over-the-top cheesy.
Yep.
I'm yet to actually get that bit. I'm about halfway through it at the moment. It is over the top. You play as Nero, who's like the deputy demon hunter type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then V wouldn't be able to place in a mid-2000 used video. Very annoying. Like, he annoys me, just quietly. As a character, he annoys me. He has a way that he does things. Him as a character is a very weak character as opposed to Nero being a very strong character.
Mm-hmm.
And V has demons that he controls that fight for him, and he finishes them off. So the combos and whatnot are very strong from him, but I don't like that style of play when you compare it to the big, bulky sword, in their face sort of feel that you get when you're playing as Nero. And I hope I'm saying those names right, because I've just gone completely blank to if they're true or not. But that being said, it is very over the top. It does have these big, epic sort of moments. And there is a... let's see, how do we put it?
Undead chicken?
Huh?
Undead chicken?
No, I haven't seen the Undead Chicken yet. There's a leg up mode.
Yeah, right.
So if, like me, you're not very good at these sort of hack and slash type games, savvy, that's a good way to put it. It has a mode at the game, at the start of the game, you can pick, do you want to play as, are you a human or are you a demon hunter? Okay, so Devil May Cry, go and play as Dante, the demon hunter. That's for people that have played lots of Devil May Cry in the past. Or you can be human, like me, who's just, don't hit me too much or I'll cry. And then you've got another option, which is in regards to the combos, which you can put it on auto, or you can go and have to do the combos. But when you put it on auto, pretty much the combos are a lot easier to master.
Yeah, right.
But everybody knows you're playing it on auto because it says it up in the top right-hand corner. Except for when I'm streaming, because I hide it. But that still says it there. But that being said, it's brilliant. Mate, the amount of shit that's going on screen, and you're slashing at things, you've got bits exploding and the gun going off, and you can like rev your sword and it makes a rev noise and fire shoots out of it, and it's over the top and it's good fun. Plus, there's some really, really wrong bits in it, which is fine. They're just the way that things are. Like you climb into a, like any other game, you'd climb into an elevator or a portal to go to another area. Yeah, that is fair to say. This thing, these veins are transferring the blood of everyone who was a victim on the ground up through this area to the main demon, and you climb into it in all its squishy glory.
There you go.
And then go flying through it and literally get spat out the other end, covered in goop, and you get up and you're like, ugh, I need a shower. It all works. That's the weird thing about it. It has all these little nuances, and it has a lot of stuff that I'm sure me, as someone who's not played a lot of Devil May Cry, it's just going completely over my head. But it works. It's fun. It has a mode where it is forgiving, so someone like me can play through it and enjoy themselves, as opposed with, a Dark Souls where I just twist the controller and walk away frustrated. I've had a few times when I have been getting the absolute snot belted out of me, but I've been able to step back, stay away, being able to regain my health, and then go in for another attack. And it just kind of all works in together. Do you have any questions
Fair
about it?
I don't believe so. I mean, you had me sort of reconsidering at least looking at it until you said you could rev the sword, and then I went, no, I'm out again.
It works. The revving of the sword, it kind of works because you do it on your back as you're running, and it goes room room. that makes it sound even worse.
Yeah, I was going to say, you haven't helped your situation.
Yeah. All right.
So ridiculous.
Yeah. But it's fun.
Anyway.
So
Sure.
For anyone listening, have a check. There'll be a few. I've got a review in the works. I've finished a lot of my recording. I only like to record early on in the game. I don't want to have any spoilers from later in the game. So I've recorded some stuff, putting together a review at the moment that will be up shortly.
Cool.
All right,
I'll watch the review and see how I come out of it.
Yeah. Or come and join me for a stream.
That too.
Or Lucas, because I think Lucas wants to have a crack as well. So I dare say he'll do something on stream.
Cool.
So, yeah. All right, mate. Well, anything else, or we jump onto the news? Mate, first off the rank for the news this week. Last week we spoke about a game on Steam, which has completely and utterly ruined my Steam suggestions forever. A game called Rape Day. Now, it's very controversial. It was one that even made someone as blasé as me go, what the hell is this?
That ain't right.
That's not right. This just shouldn't be there. I think the way that Rem spoke about it last week's show was completely and utterly brilliant. She really hit the nail on the head, I think.
Yes.
I think in how she went through it. But good news this week, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. So
it is gone. Did you read what Valve put up about it though? The reasoning behind it.
I didn't read what Valve put up. I read what ABC put up and got halfway through it and went, "Oh, here we go again." Just because it instead of it focusing on the one sort of aspect, it kind of blew it up into a whole lot of different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did Steam have to say?
So I can't tell you verbatim what it said, but from the gut feeling that I got reading it, and this is my gut feeling. So by all means, go read it yourself and make your own opinion of it. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
So I read it, and it was really weak. I got to be honest. It's almost like they were like, they're going, we realize this is bad.
Yeah.
But technically, they haven't done anything wrong.
Well, they technically haven't.
No, that's right. But they're going, we can see how this is, the risk for us is too great. Financially, we can see this might be a problem.
Yeah.
So,
that's
this
one
really
bit I did
weak,
see.
this really weak kind of. They didn't stand. They made a decision to get rid of it, and then it was almost like they didn't want to stand by that decision, just in case that there's backlash coming the other way.
Yep.
I mean, they're appeasing.
Look, I think that's
people
fair
like
enough.
us who went, that's wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were trying to distance themselves from the decision at the same time. I thought it was a bit weak. If you're gonna, everyone knows why. Just stand up to it and go, yep, done.
Yep, that was too much. Yeah, look, I understand Steam's sort of, or Valve's position on it. They've got a platform where, it's even borderline sort of self-reporting. So if someone doesn't go in and do like that, the amount of stuff that goes up on Steam each and every day, it takes into account people like us, reporting on it, seeing it, and actually giving them the feedback that thousands upon thousands of people have forgiven them. So it could have been, if no one said anything about this game, and it would have just gone through.
Yeah.
But because everyone's picked it up and it's sort of blown up, I think we reported it on Tuesday last week. While we were recording the show, and Wednesday it blew up and it went off the charts.
Yeah,
know,
like I went from
everyone
not
got it.
knowing about this game, hearing you guys, I think Rem
Yeah,
picking it up on
Rem brought
Tuesday,
it up. Yeah,
and then like I had nothing, and then all of a sudden, just about every YouTube channel on Wednesday just
yeah,
there it is. It's
it went
everywhere.
nuts. So at the end of the day, though, look, it was too much. It's gone. I think we're better for it not being there. The person who made it's got his own little bit of infamy, so be it.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, regardless of how weak they look, they still made the right decision. So
Exactly.
I can't beat them too harshly for it. It was just I just thought it was a bit weird. That's all.
Exactly. All right, mate. October 11th and 13th. What are you up to? That's a little ways off.
Well, that could be around a certain time where we're doing something other, traditionally
It could
at that time of the year.
Yeah. Well, PAX is on. So we've had the dates for PAX released.
Is it a Bathurst?
No, it's not. We might be.
We should suggest that it be a Bathurst.
Yeah. It's. I think it's down in Melbourne again. I haven't looked into it,
Yep.
to be honest with you. After last year fell through, and it was just like, oh yeah,
I was going to
we've got
say,
dates.
it doesn't matter anyway. There's a good chance that we won't get invited anyway.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what you say. So that's the 11th and 13th. There's no details on it again. I got an email through today that the EB Expo will be a part of PAX again. So that's pretty much it, though. There's nothing released. There's no details on who, what, where, why. Just that's when it is.
Well, it is probably a bit far off yet. So.
Yeah, exactly. And just keep it locked here. And as soon as tickets go on sale, we will let you know.
We still got to wait for E3. E3 will tell us what's at EB Expo.
Yes. All right, mate. While you're gone, do you want to tell us about the remote play for the PS4?
Sure, I can do that.
Sweet.
So there's a firmware update 6.50.
Mm-hmm.
If you have this firmware update, you can now jump onto your iOS devices and download PlayStation's Remote Play app, and you'll be able to play essentially on your iOS devices remotely. This is not a new feature per se. Third-party apps have been able to do this for a little while now, but for the most part, I believe they're all paid apps. You have to pay for them. So now that Sony's brought out theirs, it's free, so it does everything the other ones have been doing. It's just official and it's free. So,
and it's not on Android.
No, not yet.
Motherfuckers.
As far as I know. Yeah.
Excuse the language, but at least on the Android you can connect your PlayStation controller straight to it.
Yeah, that's right. So, but it's not. It's look. I wouldn't use it for.
I'll just plug that back in.
Intense gaming. It's kind of. It'll have a bit of lag to it, so I wouldn't go playing Rainbow Six Siege with it. But it's good for less intensive controller input options.
I must admit, I've got a
Gwent
Microsoft Surface tablet.
Yep.
So it's not really a handheld device or anything. It's pretty much a little PC, but it's portable, and I've played many games on that and just using the general, I don't know what it's called now. The PS4 Remote Play. Who would have thunk it? So just using the general sort of app you can get on PC. Oh, whoa! And yeah, it's brilliant. Like, even when I'm playing it on that, there's no delay or anything. So my PlayStation's hardwired, and playing it on this thing, sitting in bed with the PS4 controller plugged into it, and it's fine. Yep. Just off wireless. But yeah, look, I'll be interested when it comes over to Android as well, because then at least I can have a crack.
Yeah, look, I'll download it this week, and I'll give it a punt just to see what it's like. See
how it works.
Yeah, and I can let you know next week. But yeah, I only found about it today, so I didn't have time to test it out.
Beautiful.
But yeah.
All right. Days Gone.
Mm-hmm.
You looking forward to it? I know you're
look,
not really
I'm not
zombie
really
type.
the zombie kind of person. So look, I'm not jumping at the chance to play it. If I get the opportunity, I'll give it a crack.
Yeah.
Especially since Luke's a big fan of these kind of games, and I know he'll be like, Greg just hates it because Greg hates everything. And
I think Lucas is salivating for this one.
look, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Whoa, stop. Grejio, you can't guarantee such a thing. While I am excited for a brand new IP, specifically one coming from Sony, they're usually pretty good, I'm not salivating over this game because there's one thing that really is sort of making me a little bit cautious about it. I've seen a lot of gameplay of this game, and I can't help but feel like it's a little bit like a B-grade The Last of Us. I'm cautious. I will be getting this game day one, and I will be looking forward to playing it, but I'm not holding my breath. Back to you guys.
So Days Gone has officially gone gold. So they're finished. It's ready to go. It's going on discs, ready and waiting for its April 26th release date.
So I saw this article, and Rem was reading it. She read out the headline to me. I was like, oh, okay, they've already made. She goes, how's it gone gold already? And I said, I don't know, pre-sale. Thinking that they mean like gold in sales.
Oh yeah.
And then she read it, and she's like, no, it's just like their word for like the stage that they're at.
Yeah, they've got it. They've got a disc with everything on it.
They've got a disc with everything on it, and I'm just like, all right, so it's just part of their production process. This is the gold section.
Yeah,
like, it's very misleading. But anyway,
well, I actually don't know where it sort of started from, but it literally means that the physical disc. If you buy it physically, they now have that game ready to go on the disc for you.
No.
Or on a disc. They've still got to do their production and manufacturing and print out millions of them. But that first version of the game is now ready to go.
Yeah, there you go.
And then they'll play with it some more in-house and do more tweaks and whatnot, and then you'll have your day one update. Which we'll get onto in just a second. But first and foremost, Apex Legends on the PC. I haven't played on PC yet. I've played on Xbox and PlayStation, and I suck on both. It's just I've actually tweeted about this. That still to this day, my Twitter feed is full of so many people that are enjoying Apex, and I have nothing but positive words to say. I am so happy that people are finding this level of enjoyment. Yes, you do get the haters. Yes, you get them. No, Fortnite's still better. Whatever. Who cares? So many people are enjoying it. Literally, 50 million plus that are jumping on. But on PC, 355,000 people have been banned for cheating.
Well, it is PC.
Yeah, but that's a bit of a jump.
Gaming elite, but they're also the gaming cheats.
Yes, that's a bit of a jump. So after the first week, there was something like 16,000 people. So just on a month, another 340,000 people have been banned on the PC. So I'm guessing some sort of tweaks they would have found, loopholes and whatnot.
Yeah. Look, it's I like to say it's a shocking number, but it's kind of that's the kind of world the PC's in. It's kind of easier to you have an operating system that allows you to have the flexibility to run. It allows you to get around it much more than consoles do. I'm not saying you can't on a console, but it's a lot. It takes a bit more effort.
Yep.
So the masses don't necessarily. It's the hardcores that are going to be, the people that you have to really want to cheat cheat on a console. Whereas
Radicus has written a good point. What's the point of cheating in multiplayer? Winning. That's the big thing. And if you're cheating, there's or that Radicus, that could be a thing as well. If you're playing these epic games where you're getting 10, 15, 20 kills and you're creating content for it, you look like an absolute badass that a lot of people are going to watch. And then, therefore, if a lot of people are watching you, you're making money. So that's one thing that I found out a lot. You also get a bit of infamy, I guess, when you're playing against people that are those big time streamers. And I've seen a lot with Dr. Disrespect in regards to and Tuxbird playing Rainbow Six Siege. Just them watching someone else, that's cheating, whether it be their name comes up or these people put stuff up about they're doing the cheats and whatnot. So there's a whole lot of things there that people get off on it, and that's pretty much the reason why they do it.
Yeah, look, it's no different to cheating in any other sport. Like, essentially, it's the same as people taking, performance-enhancing drugs or...
Yeah, it's that edge.
It's just, it gives you that edge, and while I don't think it's about the winning per se for them, it's about the illusion that they are a winner.
Yeah.
They know they're not winning on an even playing field, but they know that no one else knows that. So, as far as they're concerned, everyone else thinks they're a winner, and that's what they're really after.
That's what they're after, yeah. I tell you what, playing COD the other night, I called hacks a few times because, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the kill feed, and I'll be upstairs, and so the kill feed only takes, a small snippet of the previous of what's going on.
G'day everyone, Editing Lucas again, just cutting in there just to clarify what Snoogs is saying. Luckily for you guys, I speak fluent correction. And what Snoogs is talking about is not the kill feed. The kill feed is the little list of X killed Y with a shotgun. What you're talking about, Snoogs, is the kill cam, I think. Back to the show.
And there'd be parts where I'm upstairs and I get shot as I walk out of a door. And then the snippet is someone, they're kind of shadowing me upstairs, and when I walk out the door, I get shot. And, stuff like that, when you're watching in that little snippet, you sort of go, hacks or whatever, but you don't know what else has happened around it. But then when you watch someone in a game like Apex, where you can watch the whole thing unfold and you can sit there and actually watch someone else play the whole game, you can see, especially for, aiming hacks or wall hacks or anything like that, it all comes up and it's very quickly picked up on. So I'm just glad that they're able to ban them now.
Just makes it a more pleasant experience for everyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get them all out. Make everyone have a bit of fun. All right, mate. Well, my last bit of news is going to have a bit of a rant at the end of it.
Fire away, my son.
All right. The Division 2 is out tonight at midnight. Technically, if you've bought the special edition, the Dark Zone edition, the Gold edition, the fucking whatever, it comes out on the 12th. Everyone else comes out on the 15th. So it's this week. But that's not the fun bit. There is a patch which is technically the rest of the game, I actually think. The patch is 48 to 52 gigabytes, depending on language options and regions. So this is what you've got to download before you can start playing. That's what it said. That's all I'm saying. There is also... The reason I say that this is the rest of the game is because today, being the 11th, there was also released a smaller patch, which was around the 2 gig size, and that was to address some of the issues with the people were getting in regards to sound glitches in the beta. So that's that side of it. The other side of it is the install size. Now, if you have a 500 gigabyte PlayStation, I'm sorry. Okay, the PS4 install size is between 88 to 92 gig, again, depending on your language options and blah, blah, blah.
Jeez.
That being said, Red Dead is 97.
Yeah.
Just take that into account, okay?
Yeah.
On the Xbox and PC, it's only 48 to 52 gig. Now, on the Xbox, I could understand it using some more stuff off the disc, but I don't understand how it all works. But That's the sizes that they're coming up with. The PlayStation seems to just get huge install sizes. I don't know why. It just seems to be completely over the top, and doesn't run any quicker. The disc drive, I must admit, the disc drive doesn't really seem to spool up with anything anymore. Either that or the fans are just that loud I can't hear it. But it doesn't. It's like in the Xbox, I can hear the drive going, and I sit within sort of a foot and a half from my gear, and so you can hear it all going. But yeah, the Xbox you can hear it spool up. The PlayStation you can't. So I don't know whether there's some difference in how it uses the disc, but yes, Radicus, the disc is just copy protection. That could be exactly what it is. It could be, a physical DRM or something along those lines. Now on to my red. In August of 2018, I pre-ordered The Division, number 2. I pre-ordered the Dark Zone edition. Now, generally, I've not pre-ordered much, actually. I've only got one other thing that I pre-ordered, which was the God of War statue. So I don't generally pre-order things unless it's something, of this sort of significance. So I got the Dark Zone edition, which is a statue. Part of the thing with the Dark Zone edition is that you get it 3 days early. For whatever reason, when I originally set it out, I went, it's all right. I'll go and pick it up. I always like to go and pick it up because I can have it in my hands. I know when I get it, it's there, it's mine, it's done. It got changed along the way by EB to go to delivery. Or at least that's what I think's happened. And I've sort of looked at it and I've gone, well, I am flat out at the moment, so delivery might be able to work. I can get my wife just to open it, take the disc out, put it in, get done. Get it downloading, all that sort of jazz. Sweet, too easy, no worries. Get to last week, no updates. End of the week comes along, no updates. Look in my bank account, the final payment hadn't been taken out. I didn't get an email saying it was on its way. Nothing like that. I ring them up. And the person I spoke to, look, I work in the industry. I work in sales, and I understand how things work. So I'm not someone to get revved up generally. And I didn't get I never get revved up at someone on the other end of the phone. So this person's helped me out, and they said, look, everything here looks right. It's still down for release next week. You should be fine. And I said, okay, can I change it to pickup? They went, no, you can't. It's already in the way of processing. I'm like, okay, well, I won't fight it. I'll just, let it go, mate. And they said, you might get it earlier. And a few other people said you might get it earlier as well. Sweet. Fingers crossed. Let's get stuck into it. Come to the weekend, still no updates. The final payment hasn't been taken out still. Get to this morning, which is Monday morning. The game's due out Tuesday. Still no updates, still no takeout. All right, here we go. Send off a message on Twitter because I couldn't get through to the people to talk to them. Long story short, about 6 o'clock tonight, I get an email saying that it's left. I get a tracking number. The tracking number still hasn't been updated as we're doing this show on Monday night. And estimated ETA is Thursday. And I'm a grown man, and this has pissed me off way more than it should. But I was so looking forward to this game. I still am.
I don't agree, man. I don't agree that you pre-ordered this 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Their process. Essentially, like I said, you're paying for a service that they are saying they will provide. You gave them money 6 months ago to set up this process, and this process has fallen over. And because of it, what you've paid extra for, you are going to be robbed of.
Yep.
You have every right to be upset. Don't sit there and say you're more upset than you should be. You should be flaming ropeable.
Oh, believe me, deep down I am, and there's no point in going off at anyone in particular. I'm going off at the situation. The situation is that this is a massive download to get started. So any extra time I've got, fantastic. I now lose the opportunity to do an unboxing before anyone else. you know, to get it up nice and early, that's gone. The streaming option, gone. You know, to try and get streaming done, you know, when less people are playing it. You know, it is a massive, you know, it's a massive release, and it's my big release for the year.
Totally.
So that's the bit that's got me. Radicus, yes, they have apologised. They have given me a few options. One of our listeners and a very good friend of Aussie Gamers Experience has tried to help out as well. Unfortunately, just the options that are available don't work for me for other reasons, but it's been fantastic that, you know, I have been offered help by others that I wasn't expecting, and I'm just extremely thankful for. People at EB have obviously apologised, but, you know, there's
only so much an apology can do. At the end of the day, the thing is, you've been robbed of a lot of things here.
Yeah, well, now I get to play it Friday night, and that's if they don't shut the servers off because they need to update it.
Yep.
Because of release day. So that's where the rant is. I'd like to sort of hold myself back. I am pissed off about it. I'm upset more than anything because I had worked myself up to, sweet, this is what's happening. You know, I've got everything in place. My shit's all charged. I've got things ready to go on the PC in regards to my video software and whatnot. I've got templates all set up, ready to go for it. You know, and just all these things that now not needed, I suppose so. But
look, I feel your pain. I had this problem when Horizon 3 came out. I get the Ultimate Edition, which means I get to play for 3 days before everyone else.
Yes, I remember.
And the day that I went to play it, my internet went down. Mm-hmm. And when I rang up my provider, they said it was going to take several days to get it back to working order.
Yes.
And I said, no, that's not happening. Otherwise, you are literally robbing me of why I paid extra for this game. And I lit them up. I lit them up hard. I wasn't as held back as you. I lit them up. I lit them up on the phone. I lit them up on Twitter. I lit them up on Facebook. I lit them up everywhere until eventually they rang me back. And while they couldn't get I think they got it fixed, and I think I got 1 day. I got 1 day of the 3.
Yes, because I remember coming home one day and there was a rather agitated Grejio sitting in my lounge room downloading it.
Yes.
So, I'm like, oh, hey, you did come around. Yeah, shut up. Right.
Yeah. So I got one day, but then they asked for a receipt of me buying the product, and then eventually they went, oh, we're not going to pay you back for that. So it was cheaper for them to give me a month's free internet. So that's what they did instead. So look, maybe you just got to be a little bit more unreasonable, bro. Just light them up a bit more. That's Grejio's touch right there.
Yeah, but see, I work in sales. I don't want it to come back at me.
Yeah, but when people are upset, how do you appease them?
Yeah, this is true. I usually go and see them because they don't seem to be upset in person when I'm around.
Funny that.
Radicus, how much more was a special edition? It was 188, including postage.
Yeah.
So and look, it is the statue edition. It's, you know, I was quite happy to pay the extra for it, but yeah, that's just yes. So I'm going to play Devil May Cry for a few more days. But that's it, yeah. Big installs. Once I get through to it, I just really hope that I hope their estimate's wrong. I'm kind of hoping that I'll get a phone call tomorrow and it'll be here. But and if it is, fantastic. I'll even throw a little bit in here to say that I got it earlier than expected. If not, yeah, I'm still angry. All right, mate. Well, anything else popped into your head as we were talking?
No, not really.
Not really?
Nothing major.
We've got a couple of minutes because we usually sort of run the show around the hour-long mark with just the two of us. So I have a question for you.
Sure.
That we'll jump in, and we'll make it for
Improv. I love
improv.
this.
Yes, off the cuff. Jump into off the cuff. Bit of an improv question for you, mate. Is E3 dead or dying? Now, the reason I ask this is PlayStation has pulled this year because they don't have anything new to show, which I think is fair. EA said earlier this week that they're not going to be part of E3 this year as well.
See, I don't want it to be dead. That's my first answer.
Yes,
because I think
there's a place for it.
It genuinely has a purpose and a reason for being there. But all these developers are coming up with their own days to do this, and fundamentally undermining that whole thing.
You know one thing that I've enjoyed so much, like the build up to E3. Last year was kind of a bit of a flop because so much shit got leaked, but the general build up to E3, and being that we do what we do, and we do we report on gaming sort of news and whatnot, and we talk to developers and we talk to different companies, and we sort of have a bit sort of inside knowledge. There is this massive build up to what's happening, what's going on. We're on the other side of the world from where E3 is, but the local companies really get together. So, for instance, last year, I watched the Xbox or the Microsoft show in a theatre in Moore Park in Sydney.
Yep.
And we got to go in there and we talked to some people from Microsoft Australia, and we got to go and watch the show and talk about things, and just being around, like, well, you know what it's like. Sitting at home, you only get so much sort of feeling, but when you're there surrounded by other people, it's it's so much better. And then after that, on the same day, in the cinema just down the other end of the complex, we went and watched the Bethesda thing. Now, you imagine, right, a full one of those big, giant screen cinemas, and just how big it is and how many people are held in one. And that thing was full of people cheering for Bethesda stuff. Yeah. So this was prior Fallout 76, by the way. And there were people
prior Fallout 4, I believe.
No, not quite. But there were people dressed up in, all stuff from Fallout, like power armor. There were different people dressed up as things from Skyrim, from Fallout 4, as the Vault Boy and all this sort of jazz. And it was just everyone getting really into it. It was a good fun. Not only was it a good, reveal, but it was also just a good fun experience. And that's one thing that I think that it's going to be missing this year. Just that sort of wow factor. We're going to have, Microsoft, Ubi, Bethesda, and Nintendo, plus the PC shows and the smaller ones, but they're going to be the bigger ones, and I don't know if they can carry it.
Look, I'm just going to say this, and this probably won't be. This will either be received well or it won't be, but either way, this is my opinion.
Yep.
The whole PlayStation not being at E3 thing, that's all PlayStation's fault.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. And I think all of them are guilty of doing this, but this is kind of the hole that PlayStation has fallen in, Sony has fallen into because of it. The others have kind of sort of skated by and dodged this bullet, but Sony's the first one to fall for it. They leak stuff way too early.
Yeah.
Like, there was no need to leak. I mean, besides the fact it was really the only thing it had to talk about that was new. But Star Wars: The Fallen Order, they didn't need to talk about that last year.
That was EA, yeah.
Was that? Well, sorry, that was EA, wasn't it?
Yes.
Sorry about that. But, like, those kind of things, I think they just... Like, they don't... That doesn't need to be talked about. Like, they already had Anthem, which came out this year. They had that to talk about. And then a bunch of other games that EA, like, it's not like EA's short of things to talk about. They have their yearly release. Why would they need to talk about Fallen Order until it's ready to come out? Like, until, like, we're talking about...
Until it's on the horizon, yeah.
until it's on the horizon. Not talking about, oh, we've got these guys working on, like, they hadn't even written a script yet. Like, and I think PlayStation's in a bit of the same thing. Like, they're showing off The Last of Us. When's The Last of Us due out? Is it this year or next year?
God knows.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's been no release date. There's rumours, but yeah.
Yeah, like we could have another E3 before it comes out. So once again, why? Yeah, like why are we doing? Why did they do this? Like, and I feel like when they're leaking stuff way too early, they let the cat out of the bag, and then by the time that it does come around, people are like, I don't care, and then they wonder why they have bad years like they did last year.
Yeah,
when they just, and to be fair, the other thing was they didn't put any effort in, like flat out, like
yeah. Last year, I must admit, the only piece of the only piece of the Sony thing that I watched was actually the Last of Us 2, and I watched Lucas's stream. So and because watching him borderline in tears because he was so excited about it. It was brilliant just to see that emotion on someone that's how pent up they are for this game.
Yeah.
It was brilliant to watch. The rest of it, I kind of just skimmed through. Will this lack of showing affect the others to, how to word this, to do things that are unnecessary? So where I'm sort of getting at is someone like Microsoft. So Radicus has put a whole lot of information in the chat. It's lost its mojo, 100%. Should merge with the CES show. The CES is a bit more hardware techy, so while it could work, it kind of does need to stand on its own. But the big thing is written in there, Microsoft will need to own it. Yes, they've got a lot of things on the horizon. Yes,
what do you mean by that? Because to be honest, I think the last couple of years, how haven't they?
No. I'm not saying the last couple of years. I'm saying that Microsoft, do they pull out more than they need to? Like, do they announce the new Xbox too early?
Yeah, maybe.
That's the bit that that's the bit that worries me, is that Microsoft is going to come out. Yes, 100%. They blew it away last year. They've been a front runner for a while with different things and different ideas that they bring forward. That's a given, and they will bring forward some more stuff. We've got the new Halo. That's enough to stand on. That's enough to stand on its own. Not to mention all the acquisitions that they've done and all this sort of jazz that they're doing in the background.
Yep.
But do they feel that the bit that worries me is that they feel like they need to push it further, and that they need to announce something further to have just sort of that bigger splash, because EA not being there, Sony not being there, you can kind of get around. I think EA not being there is going to have a much bigger impact on the whole, the way the whole thing works, as opposed to just not Sony.
Maybe not, because I think, look, if you think back to Xbox's last E3, there was a lot of EA games in their presentation.
Yes.
So, and when you think about it, like Bethesda held back stuff from their own show to have an Xbox. So I get this feeling that you might be right. EA not being there might detract from E3 a bit, but I think we're going to see all the games that they were going to show anyway. They'll just be on it. They'll just show them on Xbox because that's what they were going to show them on anyway.
Well, EA's pulling everything.
Yeah, but like you're saying that they're not like
they're not even doubling up. Apparently, everything that they've got. Well, for instance, the Fallen Order is being shown at EA's or it's actually being shown at the Star Wars Experience whenever that is.
Yeah.
And from what stuff that I've read, the usual stuff what you'd sort of cross pollinate, they're not showing anything. So EA is not going to have a presence at all.
Fair enough. Look, That's interesting. I'd like to see how that plays out in the end. I still think we're still going to end up with, we might see a fucking NBA 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
On an Xbox montage.
Yeah.
Like that's,
maybe that's true. Yeah.
Or that skateboarding game that they previewed last year that was just like, what the hell was that? And then there was nothing more about it. That was on Xbox. If that's not on there, I'll be surprised, kind of thing.
And that new game FIFA. No one knows what FIFA is, mate. That's right.
FIFA's dead, man. It's microtransaction. That microtransaction thing is dead in the water.
Radicus wants Skate.
FIFA's getting axed. Yeah, that's
Skate
what it was.
Yeah.
Was it Skate? No, it was something. Sessions.
Sessions
was that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that was the skateboarding thing from. Look, who knows? Look, I'd like to think it's not dead. I think this is more of a bump in the road than the death of E3.
Hey, it might just be enough to shake it up.
It might be. I think if we see this again next year, if we get talk that these same people aren't coming back in 2020,
then we start ringing the bell.
Then I'd say we need to start worrying about E3's future.
Yep.
But see, the thing is, like, I don't get why PlayStation or Sony are having such a problem with this. Like, Microsoft doesn't. It smashes it out of the park, and then still felt the need to bring back XO. Like, what the hell, And they've got their own show that they do monthly, talking about all the stuff that they're bringing out every month. Yeah. So, like, they're constantly talking about themselves.
Yeah.
And yet still have stuff to bring to E3.
Sony's definitely missing that side of it.
Yeah.
I always said that Sony needs a Phil or a Major Nelson. They just need someone like as good as what's his name? See, this is the terrible thing. Is it Sean Langdon?
I think so.
I think so. As good as he is, he's not out enough. That he needs to be out in front of the camera more, like Phil. He's always talking, and Major Nelson's just constantly going. So good on him. Well, let's leave it there, and we'll jump into some last words. All right, mate. I didn't ask you if you got any last words this week, so I'll ask you now.
I did, but I decided that I'm going to let them rest.
All right, beautiful. I've got some shout-outs for this week. First and foremost, to Radicus in the chat, thank you for coming and joining us, mate, and for being a part of the show, as always. I've also got some shout-outs for Asriel. She knows why, but thank you very much for everything. Belinda C. over on Facebook. Belinda, I've been meaning to put in a shout for a little while. It just... quite often, the first person to hit the like button or give us a little comment or something on any of our posts, it's Belinda. So thank you very much. I've also got Rick J for one-upping me on the COD post. Thank you. I was feeling really good about my 22-5, and he put up a 30-2. So thank you. And someone that's always floating around in the background, we've got Rusky Big Musky. Beautiful. We've got another plug this week. What do we always plug, mate?
It's show.
I think it's something.
It's like another show. Another show.
Another show, or
another show.
No, that other show.
The other show. That's right.
Yes,
so it's another show, but
it's another one, but it's that other one.
Show.
Yeah.
One.
That one with the guy that used to be in this chair, but now it's mine.
Radicus said anal.
What? Different show, Radicus. That's on later tonight. So be sure to check it out. Lucas's other show, as he feels the need to scratch the podcasting itch, he will jump on and go and give you a nice little 20-minute rundown. I've got to say, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, just the music that he's picked to start that off, I feel like I hit play and I've got to sit back with a scotch and listen. That's kind of what it feels like. It's kind of dangerous when you have that same feeling as you're driving. But, I don't pull over and grab a scotch because I'm driving. But, yeah. kind of gets you that sort of feel of very laid back and chilled one, which is good.
Like he kind of tell you that he's kind of a big deal.
Kind of.
And his podcast, his little recording room smells of rich mahogany and yeah, and many leather-bound books in there.
I'm getting a Ron Burgundy vibe here.
Yeah, that's exactly
That's where we're going. All right, so yeah, make sure you check that out. I think it's only on YouTube and iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, sorry. Make sure you get over there, give it a like, leave it a review. While we're talking about reviews, anywhere that you listen to the podcast, leave us a review, leave us a like, leave us 5 stars, because that's what we're worth. Get over, do it. It helps us grow.
Spotify. You can't do it in Spotify, so
Yeah,
come and
that's
leave a
different.
message either Discord or Facebook.
In all honesty,
Just tell us somehow. Tell us.
The biggest way to help us grow is to share us. So whether you hit that review button on Apple Podcasts, it puts us in front of more people, that more people can check us out and say g'day. So that's fantastic. Last thing from me for last words, mate. I've got a ton of streaming lined up. So not only am I streaming Devil May Cry 5 at the moment, I will also, anytime that I'm playing The Division 2, I will be streaming.
Cool.
So make sure, check it out, keep an eye on the page, join our Discord, and you'll get notifications there for when Snoogavision goes live. Too easy. Nice. All right, mate.
Nice.
Well, let's close out the show, eh?
Let's close it.
Dunsky. Thank you very much to everyone that's listened to the show, and especially those that are still listening this far along. A super special thanks to our live listener, Mr. Radicus. Get another one. He's been chatting away while we record the show, and he's a great big part of it. And thank you, mate. Thanks, Greg. You know why, bro. Well done. Good stuff. A shout out to Lucas for all your editing and all you do in the background, all your little quips that we all love. To all of our listeners, feel free to continue any of the topics that we have discussed on this show on our Facebook page or Discord channel. To get in touch with us directly, you can either shoot us a message via any one of those channels or email at info@theagexp.com. Links are in the podcast, show notes, and description wherever it's located. That's all from me. As always, I am Snoogs.
And I have been Grejio.
See yas!
Roo.
Ooh, okay, that's the end of this week's podcast. And if you found yourself shouting at your speakers in disgust or maybe even in pleasure, make your way over to our Discord server and make a comment in the appropriate channel. Failing that, you can also have your say over on our Facebook page, or you can just tweet at us. Searching for the Aussie Gamers Experience will usually lead you in the right direction, but you could just use the set of links that are in the show description. This podcast is available through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, and plenty more. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode of the official podcast of the Aussie Gamers Experience.